What's up, guys? The Scuff Tour continues. Happy Easter to all my friends out there who celebrate, and happy Sunday to those who do not. Already had some technical issues, difficulties and issues together. So it was already a little bit scuffed, but we're learning. I put in the description, scuffed, but we learning, because that's so true. But we'll get there. How's everybody doing today? Y'all having a good day? It's been a really chill day for me. I mean, it was beautiful when I woke up. One of those blue sky, Ben Howard kind of days, right? One of those perfect, like, spring mornings. Well, let's be honest, I woke up at like 11, so is it still the morning? I don't know anymore. I don't know. But I hope you guys are doing all right, being cozy. Maybe you're hanging out with your family for Easter. Maybe you're hunting for some Easter eggs and you got the kiddos out there. I don't know. I was never big into like Easter egg stuff, mainly because I'm not really a fan of eggs. Also, bunnies don't lay eggs, so that always confused me. You know, I guess I couldn't get caught up in the whimsy of the Easter bunny because, like, just scientifically, it didn't make sense to me. We're supposed to hunt for these eggs that have candy in them. What? If anything, just let those eggs like incubate for a while and just, I'm sure once they hatch, they'll be like little chocolate bunny. Is that where chocolate bunnies come from? Is that the origin story? Just Easter eggs that you let hatch? Wow. I think we solved it. So today, for this one, it's going to be the same thing. Hopefully it doesn't cut out on you. I'm trying to get this fixed. I'm trying to do a few things on my end. So hopefully it'll be all right. But yeah, today we're going to talk about introverts. Introverts are probably one of my favorite things to talk about because I'm a big introvert. Although a lot of people don't know that about me. A lot of people, based on the persona I have, if they imagine my social life, they would imagine a lot more, I guess, more extroverted. Because I have my moments where I can be like extroverted or like I can appear extroverted, but deep down I'm an introvert for life, baby. Introvert for life. Side note, if it does cut out, I think I'm just gonna have one of my title overlays. Nashville, come over here, buddy. He's gonna bonk the door into the camera. I know it. Nashville, come here. Come here, bud. Come here or go out. Your choice. Hey, come here. Not in the doorway, buddy. Not in the doorway. Hey, bud. But yeah, I'll leave one of my title overlays so that you can look at something, but I'll still talk in the back. I'll probably cut the music off and, it'll be scuffed, but, for all my audio listeners out there, it'll be all right. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about introverts. And if anyone has a name for this plant, can you see it? If anybody has a name for this, feel free to help me name him. I don't know. Some of the ones I'm thinking about so far: Gregory, Thad, Charlie for short, Oh, that's like the same amount of letters, I think. Yeah. So let's name this plant. I want it to be a part of this. I don't know why. It caught my eye at Lowe's, and so that's what it is. I got strawberry apple tea today. My mama got this for me, and it's delicious. So let's see. Let's talk. Well, let's talk Easter first, and then we'll get into some introvert stuff. But Easter is pretty cool for all my like religious folk out there. I know a lot of people take Easter real serious, especially my Catholic brethren out there. So I know it's a big thing. Hold up, hold tight. I gotta move this toy because he's gonna bash the camera. Okay, he's off chewing his little toy in the bedroom. But yeah, like a lot of people, like Easter's a big deal, which is pretty cool. I mean, I do you. I have always wanted to see like the Holy Week in like Spain, because I feel like that'd be really fun to experience, really fun to see like everything, just the pageantry and all that, the parades and stuff. But me personally, Easter was like, I don't know. As far as holidays go, it's just above like St. Patrick's Day, but well below Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like Easter dinner, I don't know, man. It just never seemed, it was never that exciting to me. I never got jazzed for anything like Easter. But I don't know. I did like the Easter baskets. I love the candy. Like I've always had a sweet tooth. So anytime you can introduce candy to the situation, I'm all about it. And I promise I won't get into all that Easter or that candy talk that we talked about for the 90s one with the Halloween, but I don't know. No, I can't promise that. But sorry, I got puppy hair everywhere. This is just you're just seeing it all. You're seeing the day in the life of Chris today. But yeah, Easter, I don't know. Easter for me is just there, I guess. It's cool that we have a day off. It's cool, like I get it. Like I spent a fair bit of my teen years like in the church. Like so I know the history and I know like kind of the significance about it. And that's cool. Like I said, like believe what you believe, like enjoy it. Like that's so cool. I've seen people like just in tears over how much they believe about Easter and all that, and that's dope. Like that's cool to have something to hang your hat on like that. That's awesome. So enjoy this holiday. But like most things in America, we made it about like consumerism, right? Like we made it about a big dinner and candy and things like. Do we get presents for Easter? Do y'all get? Has anybody else been getting presents this whole time for Easter? Cause I sure didn't. Is that a thing? Easter presents? I mean, we could make it like a second Christmas. That could be a thing. You know what's crazy? Like we could start adopting different like traditions for holidays and just kind of force it into like the mainstream. Like, what if enough people started giving gifts on Easter, and that just became like a cult, like a just like a community wide, and then like it spread, and like in like 100 years, that's what Easter is because that's what how traditions spread. That's how like things happen, where someone writes a children's book about Easter presents, right, and then it just spreads, and then everyone's getting presents on Easter. Like, that could be kind of cool. We could pick one holiday and just change it completely to what we're living in now, and have it in 250 years. Like, if we're still around, like if our the kids are still around, like having them do something different. Like 4th of July. What if in 4th of July, every 4th of July, everyone everywhere across America, like, I don't know, instead of fireworks, we did like finger painting. So like everyone would have, like, you'd go to the store and like you get a canvas, and then you get finger paints, and you just like paint like American themed things, right? I don't know. That's the first thing that popped in my head, but it's crazy. Like, we could impact, like, things aren't static, right? Things aren't just stagnant. Like, holidays like change as people change and cultures change, and like, obviously economies change. So it's like, what was Easter like 300 years ago? What was it like, 1,000 years ago? What was it like, when was the Easter bunny introduced? Like, for some reason my gut is telling me like, okay, this is probably completely false, so don't go on with this in the future like as this like set in stone, because it's completely made up. But like, in my head, I've always assumed, or I always like to imagine the Easter bunny was introduced in like the Great Depression era, like the late 1920s, early 1930s. Like, I just imagine, like, America, we just needed like to hang like some hope. We needed something that everyone, families, even people who aren't Christians, or do Jewish people, do like people of the Jewish faith, do they celebrate Easter? I don't know, because they don't. Do they? I don't know. That's a whole other issue, because I'm not sure when exactly Jesus fits into their timeline, or like how important, like, him rising from the dead. I don't know. Anyways, that's not the point. But anyone could, like, everyone everywhere, like even kids can, like, oh, that's a giant Easter bunny bringing candy, like a big fluffy animal that brings chocolate. Yeah, that's gonna hit 10 times out of 10. 100%. Like, that's you're not gonna lose when that's your market, right? So I like to picture like the Great Depression. We're going through it, right? We're like, just the economy's in shambles. There's dust everywhere, because that's all you see in those, like, that era is like just dust covering everything. And I know that was like probably just in the Midwest, or like, I don't know, but there's a lot I don't know. You're gonna find that out. There's a lot that I don't know. I question almost everything, and I read a lot, but like, there's a lot that I don't know. But so I just picture, it's like everyone's depressed, nobody's making money, everyone's struggling to like support their families and stuff. And throughout like misery, you need something like hopeful, right? You need, okay, everything, like, when the winter months are over, like, we just need something to get us through the winter months. And maybe a giant Easter bunny carrying candy, like, who would give like little trinkets and things to the kids, like, once a year. Like, maybe that was enough to, like, inspire kids to, like, I don't know, work or survive or just be alive. Like, I don't know what it was like back then, but it's kind of interesting to think about. So, if anyone knows the true origin of the Easter bunny, let me know in chat or message me. Just, I'd be curious to know, like, where did that actually spawn from. I'm assuming it's something related to our economy, right? Like something where, I don't know, we had excess chocolate, or I don't know, Hershey's like had this campaign and introduced a bunny holding an Easter basket or something. I don't know. Bunnies don't even have pouches, so why? How would I introduce like a kangaroo? And we just give little roo pouches out for Easter. That'd be adorable. Like little pouches, like instead of baskets, like just little pouches that you unzip and there's candy in it. Plus the kangaroo, like bunnies are cute, yeah, but I feel like it's cooler. Like a kangaroo would be cooler. Mainly because of the pouch. But yeah, can you see my farmer stand? It's pretty wicked, right? Like it's because I wear a t-shirt like 90% of the time when I'm in the sun, and it just, you guys know how tans work and the sun behaves. You know how it is. I don't need to explain that. But here we are. So yeah, let's get into some introvert things. And I apologize. I'm gonna be looking over here quite a bit just because I'm just making sure we're still going. You can still see me, my ugly mug. Just because that's kind of adds to the experience, right? But if you're listening just for the audio, that's cool too. You know, that's actually probably better for most of y'all because, like I said, I just keep checking. But also, where my lurkers at? Y'all, this perfect segue into introverts is like lurking. I encourage 100%. And I don't know if some of you might not know what lurking is or lurkers, but it's essentially when you come onto someone's stream, but you don't really say anything. You're just kind of there watching, or you have it on. Like, I encourage the heck out of that, because I actually have this thing. It's like, I don't know if it's like a specific anxiety, but like I would call it that. Like, I don't like chatting in someone's live stream. Like, I almost never do it. I remember the only person I ever did it was Michelle. I don't know. You've heard me talk about Michelle. But Michelle Tran, like, she's such a cool human being, and she used to stream. And I'm sure I've talked about this quite a bit, but like, she's a big reason why I'm streaming these days. But like, she was the only one that I like would ever like type in her chat, because I wanted to like support her and like let her know, hey, I'm here. You know, I got like, you got someone watching you. You know, like, you got some support. You know, even though I'm across the country, like, I'm here, and I wanted to like express that to her. But like, even that, like she's so kind and so nice, and like, it's weird. Like, in person, I'm so good, like showing my support and showing my love. But like, for some reason, when you introduce like a screen and just like words and like a delay and the like you just type and you're like, I don't know. There's some kind of like, it's kind of like why I don't like texting. I mean, I prefer texting over a phone call every day, but even then, I am very much like an in-person kind of person. You know, as soon as you introduce like text or chat, it's like so many variables. Like, maybe they don't read the right tone that you've expressed it in, or maybe, you know, you could have said it better, or maybe like there's also that humanity that gets removed, where it's like, you can't see my expression while I'm saying this. Like, if I'm saying, hey, I support you, like, you can't see the smile on my face, or like the light of my eyes, like where I really meant it. Like, it's not, you know, just words, right? So, but I have this thing where like, I don't know. It's like, there's so many different variables in, like, for me, for like chatting. Like, I won't even say like, hey, because it's like, I don't know. There's everything. It's like, now that person has to like say hi to you, and, or like, if they don't see it, you're just like, your text just goes up and up and up until everyone forgets about it. Or like, then are they going to engage with the conversation with you? And then you have to keep chatting. And it's weird because Like on here, like that. I encourage that too. I encourage like people chatting. Like that's awesome. Like it gives me, you know, I can interact. So from this perspective, I encourage that. I love when y'all chat through and I get to like say hey and stuff. But also I support you lurkers too. You ones like me where it's like you're here and you enjoy it just as fully as someone who's chatting, but like you don't want to like. It's just an added. It's got to be like some anxiety at some point. Like it's some form of anxiety, like socially, because I don't. It's like so cringe for me. Like it's just so. And it's just something as simple as chatting. Like, but like for me, as a viewer, I won't ever chat. Like I won't ever show up and chat. I'm a lurker for life, and I've said for life twice today. Don't even remember what I said for the first time, but I'm a lurker for life. It's just how I feel more comfortable. It's like, I don't know. Lurkers sometimes get a bad rap, like maybe like for being weird, but it's like, nah, some people just, I prefer the experience of just like watching a streamer do what they do and like interact with whom they react with, but like, I don't need to be a part of it, right? I don't need to like put my 2 cents in to feel involved because I'm just like wrapped up in the experience of it. But yeah, long story short, I'm an introvert. I yeah, I'm very introverted, and like I said at the beginning, a lot of people might find that surprising because especially like at work or like in whenever like the rare times I am out, I probably appear pretty social. Like probably less so now because I've stopped really caring about how people perceive me. But there's definitely, it's also because like my I was raised to be very kind, and so my like default setting is like kind and like warm, and like I love being kind and warm to people. Like that's my only way of, that's all I know, right? That's what I love. But like I also love being by myself and being like alone time and just being at home. Um, so I think the best definition I've heard for like extrovert versus introvert kind of situation, and I didn't mean to say versus like we're fighting it out. Like that's just how it always, we get pitted against each other. But an extrovert is someone who, let's say every human has like a social battery, right? Or like some kind of internal battery of like energy and wellness and well-being and like mental health and, physical health. There's like a battery, right? Like a phone battery. And extroverts recharge that battery, or at least to a point, by being social and being around other people, and like they kind of gain energy from being around others or being in social settings, right? And introverts, they lose energy around social like interactions and people. They kind of, that drains their battery, right? And extroverts, when they're alone or in a setting like a private setting, I guess, they kind of, that drains their battery, right? They need to be out and like seeing people and like being immersed in like conversations with others and just need that kind of that. But introverts the other way, like when they're by themselves or alone, that battery starts to recharge. And that's my favorite way of like thinking about it because it's so true. And I've seen it, like it's becoming more of a popular way to think about it, because I see all the time people like saying like, oh, my social battery is low. I got to go home and watch some Netflix, right? And if you don't know if you're an introvert or an extrovert, one of the best gauges is how you handled the COVID pandemic, right? That's what I found, at least for me. It's like, however, whatever, I mean, outside of obviously the terribleness of people getting sick and like the death, like to remove that, but like, how was it? It forced everyone to isolate, right? It forced everyone into their own homes, into their own like, communities. Like they had to like tighten up, and pretty much it was forced introversion. introvertism. Um, so how you handled that really says a lot about if you're an introvert or extrovert. Like if a few weeks in you were like just itching to be around people again and itching to be in social settings, you're probably an extrovert. Because a few weeks in as an introvert, and I'm talking just purely the isolation, like the lockdown, like staying at home pretty much. Not the pandemic itself, not the like worry and all that. Just purely staying inside. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I get to not only do I get to stay home, but the entire world is telling me to stay home. That's when I really realized how introverted I was. When it's like my social life improved during the pandemic. Like because there was no pressure, there was no like added pressure to go see anybody, or to, like everyone was staying in, right? Nobody was you were forced to stay in. So I kind of just thrived. I was like, all right, that's when I was like almost the most creative. I mean, during the middle of it, I did move across the country and come down here. But like for the most part, I just did my thing. There was no pressure to explore. There's no pressure to like focus on others. It was just like, oh, well, I'm gonna focus on me. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna make music. I'm gonna dive into all the creative outlets I want to explore. And society is telling me pretty much, giving me a gold star for being inside. Imagine you live the first 28 years of your life, and the fact that you want to stay inside and stick to yourself is kind of viewed as like a negative. And then for like just a short, like a year or two span, you're getting gold star after gold star. They're like, hey, good for you for doing what you need to be doing, right? And I'm just like, I'm just doing what I've always done. But good for you to notice, right? But so yeah, how your like social battery kind of worked during the pandemic is a good indication of where along the extrovert and introvert, like for lack of a better word, spectrum you're on, right? Because it's like everything. It's like on a mix. Like you got introvert over here, you got extrovert over here, and it's like some people are in the middle, some people are leaning that way. Me personally, I am probably I'm not like crazy introverted. I'm probably like, I gotta use two hands for this, right? So let's say that's the scale, right? Can you see that? Yeah. We got introvert over here, extrovert over here. I'm probably somewhere like here, right? I'm not halfway. I'm definitely on the introvert side, but I'm like not fully. Like I'll go out, I'll have a good time. There are times when I go out and I can see people and like I enjoy it. But almost every time it's gonna drain my battery. Except like a lot of times it's funny because a lot of people think it's about going out, but a lot of times for me it's about people. Like better way to explain that is if I go out to the bars and like hang out with friends, right? Even like friends I really love, like at some point after a few hours of like maintaining conversation and like being social, that like drains me, right? I'm just like, man, I gotta go home. Like I gotta talk to nobody. I gotta go like hang out with my dog and watch some Netflix, and that could be after 2 or 3 hours of socializing. I'll just like feel drained, and it's like I'll get home and I'm like, all right, that was my social time for the week or for the month. I'm not gonna go out and see anybody for another month or 2 weeks, and that's typical for me. But like I said, that's usually just with people, like if I have to interact. But like there are times when I'll go out on my own and go to like a museum, I'll spend all day at the museum. I'll make a whole day of it. I'll drive, go to the museum, go get some barbecue, explore, and I'm never wanting to come home. Like I'm never wanting. I just want to explore and just be out. Or like I'll go to a concert, and even though I'm around people, I'm not like engaging with people a lot. So it's like I can be out as long as I want and still feel like just energetic, and my social battery is like just filled to the brim. It's a weird place because it's like I kind of get energy from being in those spots, but like as soon as you add people to it, then it's like that's when the battery starts draining, right? So it's like a very nuanced kind of complex thing for introverts and extroverts. It's not simply like introverts love to just be inside, even though I do. It's not just that. It's very contextual. And for me personally, it's like whenever you throw like people into the mix, like people that I have to engage in conversation with, that like really start to wear on that battery. And I've been like this pretty much as far back as I can remember, or as far back as you can have like individual experiences. I think the best, we're still going, nice, okay. The best, when I noticed it, I guess the heaviest or the most was probably, so right after high school. I didn't really party much as a high schooler, but like right after high school and before I went to college, I ended up like going to a lot more house parties than I typically thought. Like, I don't know, it was just a thing to do. And usually I was with my boy Jake, who actually he watches some of these, so shout out to Jake, if you're listening. Yeah, Jake Leonard and I'll have to have him on here maybe a few times because he's my best friend. Like he knows more about me than most people, and that's crazy because we haven't seen each other in a while, but like he knew me from kindergarten to, well, obviously to today, but he saw me through most everything, all my high school years, my college years. But so shout out to Jake if you listen to this, man. We're gonna tear it down when I'm back up in Iowa. But yeah, so a lot of times I be going with him, and like we just go like to random house parties. And the thing about, that's a good segue. Like when you're hanging out with your best friend, that's different. Like for me, I found out as an introvert, like when you have those people, those close people around you, like your battery just stays full. Like it's weird. It's weird when like introverts especially, like they'll stick to a handful of people. Like I don't have a big group of like, 24 friends that I'll call one day to go get brunch, one the other day to go to the movies. I don't have that. Like I have one or two people, maybe on my hand, like 5 people in my life. And like those are my ride or dies, right? Those are the ones that like when I'm with them, my social battery is perfectly fine. Like we could chill, we could do anything all day. They're the people I think of like, you would go on a beach trip with, or a camping trip, or like even travel with, and like they'd be cool because my battery would stay full, which isn't how I am with most people. Like the majority of people, the idea of taking a long trip with them, even people like I'm close to, just drains me. So like that's one thing about introverts for the most part, is we find our ride or die people, and it's because we usually feel comfortable around them, and like we don't feel drained after hanging out. But yeah, so I ended up going to a lot of parties with Jake, like after high school but before college. And that's when I first like realized, oh wait, like I'm not really a going out kind of guy, right? Because like before that, it was just like here and there but I wasn't, like I said, a big partier. But like after high school, that's when you're like, at least the movies tell you, like, oh, that's when you like really go out and you party. And like that college time where you're going out and seeing, going to the bars and just drinking, and that's what you're supposed to do. But I remember, so like a few of these parties, I'd just be like, and I already said before, like, I'm the type to bring a book to a party, right? So already that's like a red flag for me. Like, I would rather read, um, but like I remember I'd be at these parties and everyone else like at least looked like they were having fun. I don't know if they really were, but within like 20 or 25 minutes of being in a party, I'd just be like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, it was cool seeing people, and like sometimes I'd like catch up with people I hadn't seen in a minute, and that would be fun. Like that one-on-one, like actually having real conversations. But like just playing beer pong while Skrillex is playing in the back, that is a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare for me. When like people are just like yelling and shouting, and that is a terrible night for me. First of all, y'all remember dubstep? What were we thinking? Like, oh my goodness. And I'm a fan of EDM. Like, I'm a fan. Like, I don't mind. Like, some of it I really enjoy. Like SG Lewis, and I guess I'd throw like Porter Robinson into that. Like, I love Porter Robinson. But like dubstep, what were we doing, y'all? We needed to do better. We owed that to our college selves, or our like 19-year-old selves, and we let us down bad. But yeah, just the whole idea of like gathering with people and like centered around drinking and like hooking up, like that has never been like something that like piqued my interest. And the more I like kind of grew up and matured, the more I realized like that's not where my heart is. That's not where my it's not for me. I don't want to be in a big group of people first off, but then a group of people that like I don't really know that well. That's like it's sinking. And then in a group of people where like everyone's trying to hook up with each other, and it's like, and I don't drink very much, so it's like all those things combined. Just the more I went to, the more I realized, oh, maybe I'm different. Maybe no one has fun at these things, and they're all just like hiding it, and they're just like pretending. And it's just something to do, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. But for me personally, I was like, nah, I would leave those things and I would just be exhausted. Like, I would just go home and I would just like pretty much get in my PJs and like open up a good book or turn on like Friends or The Office and just like pretty much be like, why did I even go? Like, why? Am I a better person for having gone to that party? Or am I a more like exciting person because of that? Or did I meet anybody did anything change my life for the better by going to that? No. Because I don't know. It's just introverts, man. We're a weird bunch. We're cool. We're cool to a few select people. But everyone else. But that's the thing about like me specifically is I can appear very extroverted. Like even this, like talking. I love talking and explaining, or like not explaining, but like I love connecting with people, which is interesting as an introvert because I love like deep connections with other humans. Like that's so dope to me. But I don't like small talk. I don't like shallow, like I don't know. It's tough to explain me as a person, and I'm still trying, but we'll get there. But like for instance, at work, like I'm I kind of, I'm like, I guess in a lead position. So I'm always talking to clients as a surveyor. I'm always, and like to them, they probably think I'm just this really sociable, like personable guy. Cause like, you know, I lead with kindness. I lead with warmth. I can be funny sometimes. So it's like, wrap those three up and like I hit you with my smile. And it's like, this guy might be on crack, but it's just who I am. I've always been like this positive person. So it's like, I don't know how people read my energy, but like, I'm assuming it's good, at least for the most part. But like to them, that like quick minute or 2 minute interaction, like they'll probably like expound that to like who I am as a person, but like that's not it. Like if I had to do those interactions consistently throughout the day, I would be done. I'd be burnt out. I'd be looking for a new job. Like the thing that gravitates a lot of people to surveying is the potential to like work by yourself. Like that's what I gravitate to with almost every job I do. We're just peeling back more layers and layers. We're peeling back all the layers right now. Yeah, I gravitate toward jobs that like I have the potential to work by myself or work in a small group setting. You know, pretty much everything I've done in like my adult life, I kind of seek out jobs where you can have autonomy and just like pretty much very few interactions with people. Like in surveying especially, a lot of your job is just to go in the woods and find things. That's a dream come true. That's why I love it so much. Is like there is no even pretense that you have to like speak to a bunch of people, like ever other than like the clients, or like you'll be on a construction site every once in a while and you have to deal with, you know, people in hard hats that want their job done now, that kind of situation. But for the most part, you just get to go out by yourself or with one other person and solve problems and stuff. Like that's so dope. That's my introvertism like shining right there. Like I was built for situations like that where it's just on me to figure things out and I don't have to speak to other people. Like my nightmare job would be, the thing is I'm a good public speaker, so it's not about speaking to people, it's about the desire to speak to people. And that's like a very, very big distinction. Like I can speak very well. I've had it since pretty much high school. I realized like, oh, I can speak in front of a large group. But it's about the want to. Like I don't want that every day. I don't want to have broad connections with people. I don't want like in those settings you're not getting into the guts of like who they are as people, right? You're just speaking for them to retain your information, I guess, or to get your point across, which isn't what I do as a communicator. But what was I saying? Like a nightmare job for me. A nightmare job for me would be 100% would be customer service at any store or any company. Customer service, I have never applied for a customer service job and I never will unless like something happens as like necessity. Like I mean, I'd do anything for my fam. Like if they needed me to do this, I'd do it, obviously. But like if it's just me, never ever doing customer service, because it's like your main function as an employee is to deal with people and interact and help them solve their problems. Like that's a nightmare for me. Like I love helping, but not in that context. Not where it's like I got to do it every day. And a lot of people out there do not treat other people right, or at least like in a kind way. So that as an introvert would be awful. And I'm trying to think if I've ever wished to be more extroverted, but I really don't. I think it's one of those things like you are who you are and you've only known your own existence, right? So it's like I can't even put myself in like a mindset to want anything different. Like the thought of being more extroverted just exhausts me because I don't know what it's like to have an internal battery that like replenishes when I'm around other people. I only have what I have. I got what I got. So like I don't know. I really, really enjoy. I think it's almost a superpower for me being introverted, and that might be a hot take. Hot take alert. Still going strong. I like it. But yeah, that might be a hot take only because you never get that. You always get like the introverts are like the meek part of the population or whatever. But to me, it's like a superpower. It's like I am so comfortable by myself, so comfortable alone, because that's just how I'm naturally wired. And it's like one of the toughest things for me to relate to is people who need to be around other people, or like people who need, we all got those friends that like they have to be in a relationship because they're not good on their own, right? They're not good by themselves or solo, and it's so hard for me to relate to that. Like obviously I'm kind, and I try to put myself in that position, but like I can't mentally because I'm like I am so good on my own, and I think that's kind of protected me in a lot of ways, and also prevented me from being in situations that like or bad relationships. A lot of I have friends who are like have been in like tough relationships because they don't really want to be in it. They just are in it because they don't want to be alone. I had this friend back in college who that was her MO pretty much. Like she would be in a new relationship every few months. And like to me that just seems so exhausting. And it was because, we had deep conversations about it, but like she just hated to be alone. She was very extroverted. Her social battery like just depleted, went to zero when she was by herself. Like for her, she couldn't really go like let's say a week where it was like just her living her life was tough. Like she needed somebody to be with her, to experience life with. She needed like to bounce ideas off someone else, that kind of thing. And we talked about it quite a bit, and I was just like I just couldn't get into that mindset. And she would like there'd be a relationship she'd be in where she just didn't want to be in it, but she just didn't want to be alone more. So she would stick with it until, it eventually ended. And she was like within a week, 2 weeks, she'd be with somebody else. Just because that fear of being alone was like, and I don't know. I know that a lot of that is based on like the individual themselves, right? Not all extroverts are like that. But like I found that like being introverted really, really, really protects you sometimes. Like it limits you sometimes because like there are days when like, oh, I wish I was more social. I wish my community, I guess, was bigger. I look at those beers commercials. I've mentioned it before, but like those beer commercials where it's like the dude gets off work and he's got like 5 or 6 friends and they're all at the bar just having fun drinking, and just like that looks fun. Or like Friends, the TV show Friends. Like they got what, five good people around you. That seems cool, but like in practice for me, I know I'd be exhausted. Like I know I'm the friend that you don't hear from for like a month, And then I'll text you like, hey man, good. Hopefully you're still doing good. Like, miss you. Thinking about you today. Hope you're doing well. And then you don't hear from me for like 3 months. Right. I remember one time, the best way to sum it up is like one time I had like an unread Facebook Messenger message from like 4 or 5 years prior. And I replied like, I think it was like, hey, you going to the party tonight? And I just like, either I saw it and I just didn't respond at the time, or just I never saw it. And like 5 years later, I was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. After like 5 years. And the person responded with just like crying emojis, like laughter and crying emojis. And that's who I am in a nutshell. Like, I'm that introverted friend where it's like my battery just it replenishes while I'm by myself or with my dog, or like doing things I enjoy just by me, like myself. And you'll hear from me, like my friend group, a lot of them know by this point it's like who I am as a person. It's like there's the love is never gone. Like it's all love probably for the rest of my life, for these select people that have been like in my life. But they know who I am and they know how I am. And just because you don't hear from me every week doesn't mean we're not still close. It's just my close looks different than a lot of other people. I don't need to be present physically to like still have that love for you. Or I don't need to go out every weekend just to remind you I exist, or just to that's never who I've been. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's fun. It's interesting because I know I can almost guarantee you I'm perceived as an extrovert in a lot of people's eyes. Because I'm very bubbly. Like when I meet you for the first time, it's usually genuine. I don't I don't know how to be fake for the most part. Like obviously in some situations I had to like if I'm talking to a client and I don't want to talk to him that day, like I'm having a bad day or I didn't get sleep or whatever, I'll kind of try my best to like, but even then I can't really be fake. Like you can see it on my face, like or I'll avoid them, or like I do my best not to put myself in situations where I have to like be fake or be something I'm not, because that's not comfortable for me. It's not fair to you. It's not how I like to be, like live my life. So I try to be as real as possible, and the real me is introverted, but the real me is also bubbly, and like when I let you in, you're in for life. You got this social, like you got this positive, like kind of warm person in your corner. And actually, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. I'm not gonna change any settings because I'm afraid it's gonna go out. So you're just gonna stare at the plant for a little bit, but be thinking of a name for it. Give me about 3 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We're still good. How's the sound for you guys? Everything still copacetic? Yeah, brah. But yeah, What I wanted to talk about, I guess, kind of like, let me tell you about introverts and dating, because it's always a hot topic. It's always fun to explore, at least my personal, like my individual experience with it. But like I alluded to earlier, like introverts, a lot of times when we find those people that like don't drain us, that's big. That is key. And at least for me, those are like a lot of times that's like I could never date someone who drains me or drains my battery. Like, and I think that, I mean, that applies to all of us, right? That's just not who we look for, but like introverts have a special kind of internal sensor where they, like, I know pretty much immediately whether or not I want to spend time with this person for another hour or another day. You know, I know right off the bat whether or not this person charges my battery or drains my battery. And obviously the people I keep close to me are people who kind of charge my battery, and people I distance myself from are usually people who drain it. That's just how natural, like it's just naturally, you know, you want to be a vibe check, right? The vibe check, you know, if they don't pass the vibes for me specifically, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. Doesn't mean, you know, anything. Like it just means it's just who I am as a person just not gel well with who they are as a person. And that's okay. Like, I'm not coming from a person like a place of power or like a place of superiority. I just acknowledge like, nah, that vibe don't really fit with me. Like that just drains me. That's just, you know, I'm not trying to be, that's not for me. But so dating is interesting as an introvert because I'll be honest, I gravitate toward other introverts. That's just me, because like I don't know, it's such a big thing to have in common with somebody. Like it's up there with, you know, religious beliefs, it's up there with politics, it's up there with like family background. It's up there with a lot of like those big topics that like are good markers to whether, I don't know if all those were good markers of like whether a relationship will last or whatever, but you know, ideals, I guess, like personal ideals, and like future career paths, like those all things that like big things that like couples talk about. Like the introverted extrovert thing is big for me because I don't want a life where I'm like, I can't do a life where I'm like always in social settings, or like the expectation is when we get together we're gonna like hit the bars or hit other like social environments that just do not charge my battery. You know, I'm trying to spend most of my life charged. Most of my life I want it to be spent doing things I enjoy. And a lot of like extroverted behaviors are not kind of like for me. Like I don't want to be like, I guess the best way is just talk about examples, right? So my example of like a terrible day is probably a great day for extroverts, right? Like the worst day for me is like, let's say I'm dating someone who's extroverted. We go to a brunch with a bunch of people she knows. Maybe I know a few of them, but like the odds that like I like all of them is very low. The odds I like even a few of them, like genuinely, very low. So it's like we go to brunch. I'm pretending that I'm enjoying it. You know, I don't want to make small talk. I want to leave like almost immediately. I sit down. I see who's around. I'm like, I don't vibe with anybody except my partner. You know, I'm out. But then after brunch, we do something else social. And then after that, we do something else social. Like that is a nightmare. That's a nightmare for me. Like I said, as soon as you introduce, like, outside of who I'm with, like my partner, as soon as you introduce, like maybe 2 other people, then I'm out. Like I'm just like, if I have to keep up a conversation, I'm out. Like if that's the expectation, like I gravitate toward those introverts where it's like they love doing what I do. They love, like, they understand that, like, being around people is not my jam, you know. And it doesn't mean you have to be inside the whole time. Like, although I do love just kicking it, like my favorite date ways to spend a day with a partner is like me reading, like we're just kicking on the couch. Like she's watching Netflix, a show she's into, I'm reading, or I'm writing, or I'm listening to music, or we're just like snuggled up together, but we're doing our own things, right? Like that's my ideal way to spend an afternoon. But then I also love, like, when I'm with someone that charges me, for lack of a better word. Like, I love going to museums with them. I love going to beach trips. I love visiting new cities. I love doing all these things that, like, I guess getting lumped into extrovertism, like traveling and all this. I love to travel, but I have to do it in the context of being an introvert. I have to do it in the context of, like, very few social interactions, very few, like, obligatory conversations. You know, if me and my partner, if we go on a trip and the entire trip we don't see a single other person or have to talk to a single other person, chef's kiss. Like, that's perfection. When I don't have to speak to another human being outside of who I'm with, beautiful. Like self-checkout lines in the grocery stores, that's an introvert's dream. Like, whoever came up with that, A, was 100% introvert. B, give that person all the money. However much money we have, give them all of it. Because that was the best idea that's ever come out of anywhere, ever. And I'm including the invention of the toaster, the invention of cars, the invention of television, the invention of Betty White. I'm throwing all those in there. But the self-checkout lane, where you bring your own produce and stuff, best idea ever made. Ever. But he was definitely, or not she, whoever invented it was definitely an introvert. Guaranteed, 100%. But yeah, the perfect like excursion, I guess, as an introvert is like, I love traveling and I love seeing new things and learning, but like I don't want people to be involved. So yeah, I gravitate toward introverts, like the ones that, and like for me it's big that they can do their own thing. Right? That's a big component of being an introvert, is like you're good by yourself. You're almost better by yourself. You're good, you know, and that's what I need in somebody who I'm dating. I need someone who is just fine by themselves. We complement each other, but we don't necessarily complete each other. Like, I don't want someone who's like my other half. Like, I'm already complete. I'm whole as myself. I want someone who like elevates or like adds to my life in a way that I can't myself, you know? And that's a big reason why I go through long periods of time where I'm single, because that makes me very picky. Or not picky, but just like, yeah, let's go picky. It's because as an introvert, I don't let a lot of people into my life as it is. And if I'm going to let you in that capacity, I got to really, really, really want you there. That's it. That's there's only really that fact. It's like, I got to really, really want you there. Like, it sounds harsh. I don't mean this to be, it's like the phrase, your presence has to be more than my solitude, I guess, for lack of a better word. I know I messed up that paraphrasing, but essentially, you being in my life or being my space is big, and that's got to be more enjoyable, or it's got to add to my existence more than, me being on my own. Because me being on my own looks real good. Not gonna lie to you. Like, me being on my own is like, I'm traveling, I'm hanging out with my puppy, I'm doing all these creative outlets that I love to do. I'm exploring new cities, I'm doing road trips, beach trips, I'm cooking up a storm, cooking up all these like meals I want to, I'm making music, I'm writing, I'm, doing all these things that fulfill me and like give me like enjoyment. So then a lot of times it's like, why add somebody else? Like, why add somebody else's wants and needs? And if I'm so good by myself, like I'm so good on my own. But, and don't get it wrong, like I love love too. I love being in a relationship. I love, having a partner, like having a teammate to like experience life with. Like that's also, I guess, let me circle back and tie that in. Like the relationships I've been to or been in, I guess let me specifically, I haven't talked about her yet, but we'll save that, but let's call her L. L was like, man, she was my whole heart. Like long story short, this is a woman like I was about to marry. Like I was pretty close to marrying her. But she was also pretty introverted. Like she was almost as introverted as me. So she kind of understood. Like it was so dope. Like there'd be so many times. Like for instance, there was this time where we like had tickets to go to this concert, and it was a concert, a band we both loved. Like she introduced me to them, and we both loved them. Like they were such a vibe, right? One of my favorite bands to this day. I've seen them like twice, but they're called Camp, CAAMP. If you get a chance, look them up because they are so good. They just came out with an album, Lavender Days, that's like the soundtrack to a good summer. Like good vibes for days. But anyways, we had tickets to this concert, and like the day of, like we're just sitting down watching TV. The concert was in a few hours, and she like turned to me and she was like, "Hey, is it cool if we cancel? Like I just don't want to have to do the whole outside thing today." And I was like, "Oh dang, I'm gonna have to marry you," because like that is a phrase that is in my head almost all the time. Like, can we cancel? Because like ain't nothing better than canceled plans. But then a close second to that is having someone else who wants to cancel the plans too. Like, and that shared knowledge. She didn't even explain. She didn't need to do anything more than just say that. And I was like, yeah, bet. And I think we stayed in. I think we ordered a pizza and drank wine and like maybe watched. I don't know what we watched. Something on TV. But it's like, that's why I gravitate toward introverts, like, because that's such a real thing, like, that like a lot of extroverts do not understand. It's like they're looking forward to this. Like, I mean, I'm looking forward to this concert too, but like, you gotta go out, you gotta mingle with people, you gotta like, I'm talking, it's even like the checking in to stuff. It's like you gotta talk to people, and it's just like, by the end of it, you could either have a really fun time or it's just like you feel drained. It's like one of those, like, so to have somebody who like already acknowledges that and knows that and is the same way is lovely. So Elle was a lot like that. Like she was very social too, like around people she loved and her fam. She was very Like that's where her battery got charged. But I love that we were both on the same page of like anything like external, anything that like was like out like that. We we weren't like planning these social events because neither of us wanted them, right? When I've dated an extrovert too, I've dated a few, and it's just it's it's so interesting. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna date an extrovert ever again because when the vibes are there, the vibes are there. There's no, you can't control who you fall for. But for me, it makes it tougher because a lot of things that they enjoy or bring them energy, like things that drain the heck out of me. So it doesn't last long. Like my extrovert relationships haven't lasted more than a few months because like after a while I'm just like, no, I want to. After a while you get selfish, right? You get like, you start out and you're like, you want to enjoy what they enjoy, you want to do what they do, and you know you're bonding and you're getting closer and you want that. But then at some point you either acknowledge that, oh, this is, I gotta sacrifice a lot for this, or I gotta be selfish and do what's comfortable and what feels better to me. And look, the more mature I get, the more I realize like I gotta go with what's with me, right? I gotta, if I'm not happy, what's the point? You know, she can find somebody who fits with her better and they can both be happy versus me suffering, and then eventually I'm gonna resent her. It's a whole thing, but it's a big thing actually, because it's like, I don't know, it like a lot of times it gets mistaken as like, oh, you're lazy, or like, oh, you don't want to go out, like you don't like the things, you don't want to do it because it's my friends. And that's part of it, but only because like I don't even want to do that with my friends, and I love my friends, but it's like I don't even want to spend that kind of time with people I do already enjoy. So like clearly I don't want to do it with the people like you enjoy. It's like that's a sucky thing to say. Like that's sucky because it makes I don't mind being selfish. I can be selfish. Like I think we all need a good little bit of selfishness in us, like to an extent. But like it's a sucky thing to like to have to feel like that for both parties, right? Because it's like me, I don't enjoy, I don't get the energy, I don't get socially filled by going and seeing these people, right? But her, she goes and she hangs out with my friends and she gets socially filled. She gets like, you know, but it's not equal. It's not like, it's not, I wish I could translate that back to her, but like I can't, because that's not what I'm good at. That's not my strengths. That's not like, you know, I'll be polite and I'll be cordial and, you know, they might like me, but that's not what fuels me. That doesn't, me, I would much rather her and I one-on-one spend the entire day together. We do that exact same thing that she has planned, but take away her friends, take away any like of the other people, and then that's like perfect for me, right? I'm so good at one-on-one. One-on-one is like, that's where I thrive, baby. That one-on-one communication where it's just us, we're like learning about each other, or we're like doing things together. But like that's obviously that's not what she's looking for. Like that's what she wants, is that, you know, involvement of others, like that community. Like that's what serves her. Like, so it's like that's a tough thing to navigate. That's a very tough thing as an introvert to navigate, because like there'll be times on like I'll be on like what, Tinder or Hinge, and like as soon as I see, and they're like extroverted, you know, looking for someone also extroverted, and I gotta swipe left. I got to, because it's like I can already see 2 or 3 months of me pretending to be extroverted-ish. It's gonna wear on me. I'm gonna be exhausted. It's not gonna work. I know it. No matter how much I like you, unless we have like a an open dialogue and like communication where that's not going to be a deal breaker for either one of us, it's not going to work, you know. And I try, I guess that's why I haven't really tried. Obviously, I love communication, but I haven't really tried up front with like an extrovert to be like, yo, these are kind of what I'm coming from. If this is going to be, if you're looking for someone to hang out all the time in social settings, like that's what fuels you. And you like, if it's a deal breaker that your partner isn't going to do that, you know, more than half the time, let me go, you know. Let's not make this a thing. Let's not even get our hearts involved because it's not going to end well. But like, I have friends that are extroverts and we mesh so well. Like it's just expectation, right? It's like, especially with romantic relationships, it's like that expectation that you have your partner, right? And they're going to do the things that you want to do and enjoy them. And, you know, all my extrovert friends, they kind of understand I'm the one that, like, you know, you invite me out to a party, I'm going to be there maybe 1 out of every 10 times, you know, or I'm going to be, you know, we go out to dinner, I'm going to be the one that like cuts out early. That's just who I've always been. But like, we're still great friends. Like, it's not like but it's that expectation. It's like, if that's what you're looking for in a partner, it's different, you know. Friends is cool because there's not that added element. But when it's your partner, obviously you want that person to be involved in the majority of your life. So I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I will never date an extrovert again, but it's trickier. It's more involved. Because the best way to put it is like, everything that I enjoy doing, they probably are going to get bored with. And everything they enjoy doing, I'm going to get bored with. And then we're just going to be calling each other selfish for not wanting to do, but it's just really not compatible, right? That's, I guess, the key to it is like, you're just not compatible. And that's cool. That's okay. It's just, you got to realize that, and you got to know that about yourself. And that takes introspection and like realizing what you gain pleasure and energy from and what takes away from it. So yeah, chances are, and I'm not saying like for all you extroverts out there, I'm only coming from an introvert's perspective, right? I don't know what it's like for y'all. I don't know. I'm not trying to bash nobody. You know, y'all doing your thing. I love you. I got plenty of extrovert friends, right? That sound like, yeah, I got friends, you know. I got plenty of friends that are extroverts, and like, that's a cool energy. Like, it's like they inject energy into situations that like I can't. Like they, you know, I've got an extrovert friend who, like, she is so social and so sociable. She'll talk to anybody at the bar, and she'll bring in like new conversations and like added elements to the night that like I would never even imagine. Like, if I go with her, chances are I'm gonna end up, by the end of the night, I'm gonna end up at a completely different area of the town, in a complete different situation, maybe at a bar, maybe somewhere else, like meeting a whole new group of people, because that's just who she is. Like, she's just very, very social. She'll talk to anybody, and that leads us to so many different avenues. Now me, I'm not saying it's any better or any worse. Maybe worse, I don't know. But me, if I'm going out, there's a solid chance that we stay in there, like, and we not even gonna be there that long, right? I'm going there. Let's say we're going to a bar. I'm going there. I'm getting my drink. I'm gonna listen to some music. Try not to talk to anybody. Maybe play a little pool, and then I'm out. You know, I want to be there maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, and then I'm in home in my PJs. But when I'm with her, we start there for like an hour. We end up oh hey, she finds out a buddy in a band is playing here, so we end up at a show there, and it's fun. Like it's fun, especially with her because I know it going in. Like so, I gotta pick my days when I hang out with her because it's like I gotta be mentally prepared to do that because it's not all like for me. If I had to live like that, not I guess that sounds bad, but if I was wired that way, knowing what I am like as an introvert, if I lived so socially, I'd just be so drained. Like I can keep up with her for a night, and that's it. But let me tell you, when I get home that night, I am exhausted. I sleep for like 12 hours. I wake up at like, usually we get back at like 3 a.m. I have to go to sleep until like 3 p.m. and then my sleep schedule's all screwed up. But then I don't go out for like a month and a half. Like for real. It's like that's it. I can't do it every night. I can't do it every weekend. I can't even do it every yeah. But and we get along great. It's like um it's just a difference. It's like if like let's say in some alternate reality we were dating, right? And that was the expectation is like I would come along with her and do the things like that, it would not last. Or even if she came along and did the things I enjoy, it would not last because we just both it's not who we are. And I think humans as a whole, we kind of try to live our lives with like the peak amount of comfy, like the peak coziness, the peak enjoyment, like where we feel the safest, most comfortable. Like that's where like humans love to reside, myself included. So, and that's not to say I don't put myself in uncomfortable situations or like don't put myself in situations that allow growth, I guess. Like that's honestly what I think about when I go out. Like I'm like, okay, now's my time to like grow a little bit to learn about myself. Because every time I go out, it's like a learning experience. It's like, A, I learned I don't want to do it. B, I learned to trust that inner voice in my head that says don't do it. But no, like I said, being an introvert, like I'm pretty sure, like I look at it as a positive. Just like if you're an extrovert, I look at that as a positive. Like there are so many things that maybe I don't understand, but have like led you to live the life you lead, or like added to your life in ways I can't even imagine. But like me personally, like it keeps my circle small. But like I trust my circle implicitly. Like the people around me, I trust them with my life. Like, you know, now I don't want to see them every day. And that sounds harsh, I guess, maybe to an extrovert or maybe to people. It's like I don't want to see the people, my loved ones, every day. Like that sounds worse than I really mean it. Like it's not because I love them to death, right? I just said I trust them with my life. I would die for them, but I don't want to see them every day. That's kind of the a clear delineation with introverts is like I love you, but I don't got to see you right now. I don't got to see you this week. I don't got to see you this month. I still love you though. Um, yeah, we really getting into these introverts. We getting into it. Uh-oh. Katamina is live, boy. I got a text alert on my phone. Cause your boy subscribed. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Like I said, the girl, the L, who I was dating, it's like I think I even told her one time, like when I'm around her, my battery is charged, and that is so rare. Like to be around somebody constantly or consistently, for me, is so tough. Like, no matter who you are, no matter how much love I have for you, I need my alone time, right? I need my space. But with her, it was different. It was like that desire to like be alone wasn't that high. Like, it's still always there. It's obviously, like, as humans, I think it's healthy to have a good bit of distance. Like, even in your marriages, even in your romantic relationships, I think it's super important to have some space where you can feel safe to be your own person and to have your own like experiences. I'm a big proponent of like traveling by yourself or traveling not with your significant other, because I think it's important to have experiences as your own person. But and like other things too, like going to shows by like with other people that aren't your significant other. You don't have to do. What I'm saying is, you don't have to do everything. Matter of fact, I don't want to do everything with one person. Like that sounds terrible to me. But with her, it was like as close as I've ever come to being like completely comfortable with somebody, and like craving not only being okay with them being in my space, but like craving their presence in my space. And that is quite that's a big thing, like a big thing in my life. Is like a big part of it is I just don't want somebody to be in my space consistently. Like I'm the type, I drive to any event I'm going to, any social gathering, anything. If you offer to like, oh, let's carpool. Like, if you offer to like, let's go together, I'm gonna politely decline. I'm like, nah, it's cool. I'm gonna drive, because I need to be able at any moment to leave and go back to my space, go back to my comfort level. Like, I need to be able to go. But for her, I had no problem being in her car, like driving us to somewhere. Like, I had no problem. Like, it was weird. It's like, as silly as that sounds, like I had no problem, because if I was with her, I was comfortable. Like, if I was with her, it didn't matter, almost. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I knew she was introverted too. So it was like, I knew wherever she went, it was going to be comfortable for me too. Like, she wasn't going to just drop me in a setting that like I was not having, because she was not having them either, right? So it was really cool to have her, to get close with her, because that allowed me to see like possibility of like, okay, because up until then I had been pretty comfortable around people, but like never like that. Never like her was I like just like, when I tell you I craved her being in my space, that was the first time that kind of unlocked that for me. And like since then, I've had one other person, I've talked about her before, who like I crave her in my space. But like with Elle, that was the first time where it was like real, like I just needed her to be around, and like it felt comfortable and it felt natural and it felt like safe and all these like cozy words. And that is so rare for me. Like, I don't feel that within, like I said before, it's like whenever you add one other person to the mix, 9 times out of 10, I'm uncomfortable now. Like, I'm just like, add anybody to the mix, and and no matter how much I love you, it's like you add them to the mix, it's just, I start worrying about other things. It starts adding in thoughts to my head that I don't need. Like, it might be it's a social anxiety thing, I don't know, but it probably is. But like, when I'm eating food, right? If I'm eating a big plate of delicious food by myself, I'm enjoying it. So good. But for some reason, if you add one other person into that room and they're eating too or whatever, and I'm eating, not quite as enjoyable. Like, the food literally doesn't taste as good. And it may be because my mind is like thinking like, oh, all these thoughts, are they enjoying the food? Am I talking enough? Am I doing all these things like that are interrupting the just experience of eating food? And maybe some of you are like that too. I don't know. But I've always been that way. And like, and you can like extrapolate that into like pretty much anything else. Like music doesn't sound like as good. Experiences like travel doesn't feel as good. All these things just aren't as good for me when I'm with somebody else. And maybe that's introvert. Maybe that's just who I am as a person. Well, I know that is who I am as a person, but so when I was with her, and that like flipped on its head, where it's like food tasted just as good with her as by myself. That's what I mean when I say your presence has to be better than my solitude, or as good as my solitude. It's like food has to be, and it like as good when I'm with you than when I'm by myself. Or like seeing shows. When I saw shows with her, I enjoyed it more than when I was solo. And that is a statement right there. Like, she might be the only one I can say that about ever in my life. That statement. So that should tell you how just rare that is for me. Like, I took a trip with her. I took a few trips with her, but like, I remember we took a trip to Vermont, and it was like in the fall, and I will talk about this more because I want to do an East Coast, and that's going to be on it for sure. But taking a trip with her, she made the vibes so much better, and that blew my mind. Because if I take a trip with anybody, like I said, I keep using numbers, but like 99 times out of 100, if I take a trip with somebody, I much prefer going by myself. Like, I'm going to experience everything I want to experience, and not selfishly, but it's just like how I feel. It's just who I feel like I enjoy it more when I'm by myself, you know. But when I was with her, I would never want to take that trip without her, if that makes sense. Like, she made it what it was in such a good way. She was really the first person in my life who, like, I realized, oh, if I have this connection with somebody, if I like, I need this for my relationships, if I have this, it is beautiful. It's like okay, my social battery is like this, right? But like, she added this. There's this extra little capacity, I guess. It's a little battery add-on, right? You know, like, you level up and your battery bar gets a little bit higher. You get another extra slot. That was what she brought to the table. Like, for the first 25 years of my life, 26 years, I was like dealing with this, right? And she added this little battery extra pack, which is amazing, because while I was in it, I was like, I didn't know it could be like this. But it sucks now because I have that extra battery pack now, and I know it exists. Like, I'm aware of it now. So now anything other than that, and it's like, I don't want it. But okay, good. We're still going. We're still good. Hopefully you guys, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're having a little bit of fun listening about introvert things. I think it's good to have our side of things out there, so that, I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt, or you can, you know, maybe this sheds light on your introvert friends and what they're thinking. But yeah, hopefully you're having a good Easter. But I really enjoy this topic because it's so misconstrued. It's so misunderstood, I guess. You always think of like the introvert as like that shy, nerdy, like white male who just he lives in his parents' bath or basement and games, and is like skinny and wiry and smells bad and has a mustache that's wiry and can't grow facial hair and just has stringy hair. I don't know. That's what I like. A lot of you see, especially like on cartoons and stuff. Like, that's the introvert model, right? but it's not true. It's not true. Like introverts are just as normal. Like they're normal. It's just like I said, we don't gain energy from being out and about, at least around people. Like I am convinced that if I had grown up in the 1600s, I'd have been killed way early on as a witch or some kind of like undesirable, right? Like, and we're not even talking race because I'm half black, but like we talking just my characteristics is like I'm left-handed, so I'm out, right? He's a witch, but then also my behavior, like there's a law I think in England or the UK, I think you can get, I can't remember if you can get fined or arrested or something for being antisocial, or like there's a specific term for it and I can't remember. I remember I looked it up when I was traveling to London because I was like just curious. I was like, what does that mean? Like you can get, I don't know, it's like the police look at you different if you're labeled as like displaying antisocial behavior or something. I was like, oh no. I literally thought, oh no, they're gonna catch me. Oh no. Like that's my thought process. Like as a witch, like in the 1600s, like okay, he's left-handed and he prefers to be in his cottage by himself. Like we haven't seen him in 3 years, and now all of a sudden these cattle are dying. It's definitely him. Everyone else we've seen coming milling about. Had ale with Sir Patrick 3 nights ago, right? But Chris over there in his quaint little cozy cottage, what's he doing? He hasn't dated in 2 years. He hasn't taken visitors. It's just him and 6 dogs and 1 crow. We're looking at, that's him. He did it. He's the witch. Like I am 1,000% convinced that my personality would have gotten me killed in the 1600s. Like them Salem witch trials, I'd have been front and center. I'd have been the first. Like Tituba would have, yeah, I'm gone. Them little kids would have pointed their fingers straight at me. Like I'm the easy target, right? 100%. Introverts, man. Introverts. But and what I was probably doing in there, I was probably cooking up a bad batch of mead, probably making some stew, probably listening to some just of like them banger Baroque songs, that just released because it's about that time period. So I was listening to, I don't know when the harpsichord was invented, but like I probably had some of them harpsichords on like that early vinyl. That's what I was doing for those 2 years that they didn't see me. But to them it looks antisocial, because it antisocial is such a bad phrase. Like it's like I consider myself antisocial, but it's not because I'm going to do something bad when I'm in society. It's not because I'm going to negatively impact society as a whole. It's because I don't want to interact with society as a whole. It's like I take the onus of like, I don't want to be involved in these meaningless conversations, or like I don't want to be in these situations, right? I am so good on my own. Like I wish it was less of negative, like antisocial, and more like building upon the fact that you are good with your solitude. Like it should be a skill, I think, unless you're doing some weird stuff, obviously, like, I don't know. Maybe there's a link between it being antisocial and like seedy behavior. But like for the most part, I think there is such a power in being like very self-reliant and very good on your own. And I found, at least personally, that trend to be more prevalent in introverts, just by nature, just by how you're built. Is you rely on yourself, you enjoy being with yourself, you enjoy, creating your own company. You enjoy your own company more than you enjoy other people's companies, right? So that's going to make you, by default, good on your own. And I think that should be more seen as a positive. Like, it is nowadays, but it's also like they want you to be more extroverted. They want you to, you're kind of the odd man out if you're not wanting to take part. But I'm old enough now where, like, I don't, like I said at the jump, I don't care what people perceive me as. I don't care if people think I'm antisocial. I don't care if people think that I'm not the life of the party. Like, I don't want to be the life of the party. Like, I hate being the center of attention. Like, I can't stand being at the center of things. Like, for birthdays or any of that stuff. Like, it's just not for me. And I mean, there are some days I kind of like daydream about, like, what if I was more extroverted? What would that look like? But that's gonna untangle a whole different mess of things, like, that we'll get into. We'll cover eventually. Cause like the introversion part is like a big part, but also I'm not sure, like, the chicken or the egg, what comes first. Like, did that lead to these other behaviors or personality traits or that, or were those first and that's why I'm introverted? I don't know. You guys having fun? You enjoying this? I'm glad the stream is still up and running. I was pretty nervous about that, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm glad to see that it's not as scuffed as I had thought it might be. It's already almost 6 o'clock over here, so it means I gotta eat some food. I'm gonna make an omelet today with some goat cheese and some green onions for like a late lunch. But yeah, hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully you're having a good Easter, eating some of them chocolate bunnies. Like I said, they should be chocolate kangaroos. Like, that would be such a... You know how cute it would be to have, like, little pouches. You could have, like, little brown, like, fluffy pouches. You unzip and there's candy in it. The Easter kangaroo brought you. The Easter-roo. You could even... Easter-roo. Like, the R, Easter-roo. It'd be a whole thing. That'd be cute. I don't know. It's like, if we're gonna make it up, just make it up to the fullest extent, right? Just make it up to, like, the coolest, optimum character. It's all fake anyway. But yeah, I think this is a good spot to end it for today. I might try to get on tomorrow night and just kick it for a little bit. We're probably gonna do, I don't know, maybe we'll do some music. I like listening to some music, or maybe we'll get into another topic or something. Also, if any extroverts took offense to this one, I apologize. I'm just speaking my experiences. I'm not bashing on y'all. Y'all great. Y'all do what you do. I'm just saying I couldn't do what you do consistently. And please understand that it's not a slight on you. It's just like, bruh, I gotta be at home. I gotta be in my PJs by 9 p.m. Like, especially now I'm getting older. It's like, you got me for maybe 2 hours once every 2 weeks. Outside of that, I gotta be alone. And it's like one of those things, like, there are levels to it, right? There's, like I said before, some people are much more like leaning extrovert than introvert. Some people, their battery doesn't drain as fast. But me, like, I could be a hermit in my next life. Like, I think I get it from my mom. Like, my mom, like, they live in the country in Iowa now, and it's like in the wintertime she thrives because she can read her books and just stay in with her people, just stay in with my dad and whoever's living with them at the time, like one of my brothers and sisters, and just hang out with the dogs and do her reading and her crocheting and she's just a hermit pretty much for that period of time. And like I think that's a big, like I feel like introvertism is like possibly genetic, because I look around at my brothers and sisters and like we're all pretty similar. Like apart from my sister Sam, who I think she started out as an extrovert, but then she learned enough about people where she became an introvert. No, not really, but like I think she was like the most extroverted of us all. She was the bubbly one who would talk to anyone, and she still has that. But I think she's more like coming toward introvert as she grows. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'll talk to her. I think that's just what I got from the last time we talked about it. But I'll pick her brain and see where she's at these days. But like I'm very much I could be a hermit. Like that's the thing. I don't need to date. I don't need to like. I could go years. Like my goal, my entire dream is to. So what I'm doing now is I'm working hard, saving up. What I want in 10 or 15 years is what I picture is just a ranch in Texas with a good bit of land and a bunch of dogs. You know, I want to still be working, so I want to go to work, but then I want to come home, pretty much what I do now, and I want to cook good food, and I want to hang out with my puppies, and I want to read, or I want to write, or I want to create, or explore, or just chill in my own space with my own land, just watching sunsets, drinking tea, you know, listening to music or making music, and I'll be honest, in a lot of these like daydreams, I don't even picture a significant other with me. Now it'd be nice, like if I ever meet someone who makes me feel like that extra bargain, you know, that extra battery life, where I feel just so comfortable in their presence and so recharged, then that's the only I guess situation where I'll have somebody with me in this daydream, I guess. But that's so rare. But that's the thing about me, is like I am content. Like I could very well live out the rest of my life in that scenario where it's just me and my dogs, and we just traveling, and you know, like that. I got no problem with that. And I know a lot of my friends, like to them, like that sounds terrible. Like they don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere without somebody to talk to or somebody to, you know, have. But like I said, unless I meet that rare soul who, like, you know, I feel my optimum self with, like, unless they compliment me in a way where it's just like I feel this is home, it's not gonna happen. I'm cool with being, like, I am more than cool. I'm ecstatic to be on my own and be by myself and have all these experiences just solo, because that's what I prefer. So that's why I say I can be on the extreme of that end too, where it's like my day-to-day introvertism is like not crazy, but like my long-term goal, like ideal, like I hate living in the city. Like I hate living with neighbors. Like they're cool, but like I hate just being around people constantly. I hate coming home and like people being around. And they're kind, like they're nice, they wave. Well, some of them are sketchy, like not sketchy, but like snakes. Like they'll stab you in the back. That's another thing. It's like some people are just not good. It's like I don't have the time to weed them out. I'm just like, I just stay away from everybody. But it's a good thing about introverts is like we have a good internal gauge of like if for lack of a better term, if we fucking with you or not. Like if you pass the vibe check, like we'll know. we'll know if you're deep, like a good person, because we got acute senses to that. Like, we're in tune to somebody's vibe, and if you ain't fitting it, if you a snake, we trust our gut. But yeah, like I want to have my own land. My ideal, like I picture this, for some reason it's always a ranch in Texas. I've got maybe 20 or 30 acres, so it's like everything I can see pretty much is mine. The sun's going down. I'm getting home from work. I let the puppies out. They all run around, and maybe I fire up the grill and got some of my favorite music going in the background, and that's perfect. And it's honestly how I spend my life now, except I only got the one dog. But we working on it. We gonna get Nashville a brother or sister. But yeah. So see, you're learning about me. You're learning new things about me. But yeah. If you ever cancel plans with me, just know I am fist pumping. I am smiling. I'm jumping up and down. No matter how excited I am to go, I'm always more excited for the plans to be canceled. 100%. 100%. No matter if we've been talking about this for months and I've already got everything planned, everything worked out. If the day of comes, matter of fact, the best time is the night before. If you text me the night before saying, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, don't even bother apologizing. Don't even say sorry. Like, just know I'm going to be dancing. Even if the alternative, even if I was looking forward to it so much, and the alternative to this night, as I'm just going to be in bed in my PJs watching Gilmore Girls, I am jazzed. I am ecstatic. Like, don't feel any type of way to cancel plans with me. Chances are, part of me wants to cancel plans anyway. Not because I'm not looking forward to it, not because I don't want to hang out with you, but just because of who I am and like my comfort. But man, I keep there's so much I love talking about this. But yeah, that's probably a good spot to end. Like I said, I'll probably be back on tomorrow night, hopefully. If not, it'll be sometime, maybe I'm gonna say Wednesday. It seems like a good day. It's a hump day, so but yeah. You know what I miss? All my Iowa friends up there, man, I miss Taco John's. I came up the other day and I got not the other day, but when I came up to visit, and I got Taco John's on my way back into Iowa, and it hit. It's like all we got down here is Taco Bells, and like they're good, they're alright, but if you grew up in Iowa, you know there's that battle between Taco Bell and Taco John's, and you pick sides early on. I'm talking either your family picked it for you or you picked it based on your taste when you're young, like 5 or 6. And then potato olays have just their claws just dug so deep in my heart and my stomach. Like, if you've never had a potato olay, they're essentially, all they are tater tots, but they are fried perfectly, and they've got this olay seasoning on them that's like, it's like seasoned salt and cumin and maybe chili pepper, I don't know, cayenne, but like the combination of it all is perfect. Like last meal, like if I was ever in like death row, potato olays would be in that situation, in that scenario at least, like, or they'd be in the discussion. Like, I don't care, like nacho fries at Taco Bell are alright, like they get me up to the window, but like, you know, they're alright. And with the nacho cheese, it's but I kid you not, if you're ever in Iowa, go to Taco John's, get potato olays. The tacos themselves aren't too much to write home about, you know. They're quintessential like Tex-Mex, you know. I always get the beef And by now it's just like a comfort thing. It's like the flavor is what I expect because I've had it growing up. Like it's just nostalgia pretty much. They're not like, I wouldn't recommend them like to anyone who actually like loves tacos. It's not like, they're never going to win the best taco award ever. But they hit like they're just exactly what I want from like just that kind of level of fast food. But the real star is the potato lays. I keep saying potato. They get a extra emphasis on the po. Like they ain't that expensive. They just delicious. Like they're crispy and they're salty. And I know a lot of people, like my friend Jake introduced me to the nacho cheese move, which is a good move. It's solid. Like you dip the crispy potato lay tater tots into the nacho cheese. Delicious. My mouth's watering just thinking about it. Like that is such a good move. But me, I like the standard ketchup. Like ain't no better combination in my mind than a fried potato and ketchup. Like it's why we like French fries and ketchup so much. Like that combination together is perfect. Like there's some things are just made to go together, and that's it. Like that. Ketchup and French fries, ketchup and potatoes. Peanut butter and jelly. Me and Betty White. I'm just kidding. I just want to reference Betty White one more time today. But potato lays, do yourself a favor. Matter of fact, if you're in Iowa right now and you're watching this, go to Taco John's and pick up a large potato lay with some nacho cheese on the side just for me. You know, and message me, hit me up in the chat, whatever it is. Next time you see me, say, hey, I had them potato lays because of you, like, or for you. You know, like that's big. I miss those so much. They just, It's like nothing down here even. It's just, Taco Bell's not my thing. Like I know they got some good stuff. Like don't get me wrong, I like a good chalupa. I was just talking about with my brothers. We were talking about I can't even remember. I'll text them and see. Nick was talking about. I can't remember. I know James was talking about the naked chicken chalupa, and he said that's fire. And Nick was talking about another one that I can't remember, but I'll know if I see it on the menu. But I mean, are they better than the Olay though? Probably not. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna make some late lunch, early dinner. Hopefully you guys had fun. I'm glad it wasn't scuffed. Hope you guys, it's Sunday evening, so this is like I said, this is my all-time favorite vibe. It's like the light for some reason on Sunday evenings just is better. It's like the golden hour is more golden. You know, I know a lot of people dread Sunday evenings, and I used to be that way, like when I was in school, like as a kid, because it means obviously your weekend's over and you got to start tomorrow like 8 a.m 7 a.m whatever your schedule is. But the older I get, the more I appreciate the endings of things. Like the ending of weekends is really beautiful, and it's like, I don't know, it was really, I just keep going. Somebody got to stop me. But it was really, I think when I first noticed it was when I was in college, and Sunday evenings were like, so essentially you're in class, or you're in from Monday to Friday, you're in class, you're doing all your studies, everything, right? Lectures, study groups, library. You got Saturday and Sunday, right? And Saturday is usually your party night. You're studying in the afternoon, and then you're partying in the evening. But Sundays was always for me just that relaxed day, that chill off day. So Sundays was doing everything I wanted to do just for me. You know, no obligations to go out. You know, all my friends were either recovering from like hangovers or all that, watching football. So what I would do is Sunday mornings, I would drink coffee and listen to music and like vibe out, and then, you know, just explore the city, do my whatever. But then the perfect time, that what I'm getting at right now is like between 4 and 6 p.m., 4 and 7 p.m., right around there. I developed this habit where I'd go for runs. Like, because running, especially in a college town, is the best way to see a city or to learn about a city. Like, I would go for runs, just meander down different streets and alleys and neighborhoods that I never would have seen outside of my like bus route to like my classes. So like, just picture a beautiful Sunday in like the springtime. It's like 70 degrees, 60 degrees. Maybe I got a light jacket on, but like the sun is just starting to think about coming down. When you start your run, and I'm just listening to music and just running and just not thinking, and you know, you're 18, 19, 20, so you got the stamina. You're not even, it's not about how far, you're just getting lost. And you know, by the time you're ending, it's like, for me, it's about 7 o'clock. It was like golden hour, like starting to look real beautiful. And like, I love those moments. And then I would end up running back, getting to my dorm, taking a nice long shower, getting out, and it's like that golden hour is just starting to go away. It's like starting to get dark. And this is my all-time favorite. It's like, that's just after golden hour when the sun is setting on a Sunday evening. That's prime time for listening to your favorite music. And I'm talking, if you listen to that like that indie, if you listen, literally whatever you're vibing with, it could be anything. But like me, I always go either that Gregory Allen or that camp or that like really folk, or I go to like just jazz, like, you know, like Art Tatum kind of jazz, like that piano heavy, or like even like just smooth jazz. I remember growing up, my parents would take us on like just drives, especially like on Sunday evenings, because I think that's when both of them didn't have to work. And I remember distinctly my dad would cut on like some smooth jazz. So now I associate smooth jazz and Sunday evenings, like, so that's a big part of it too. But like Sunday, as the sun's going down, you got the windows open, the fresh air's like coming in. You know you got to work the next day. You know you got to get up, but you don't got to worry about that right now, right? You got at least a few more hours before you got to get in bed, where it's like maybe you got dinner going and the house is starting to smell really nice. And you got your music going somewhere softly in the background. You got your jazz or your indie or your folk, or, you know, literally whatever you're feeling. And, you know, dinner's in the oven. Maybe you sneak a few pages in your book you're reading. Like, it's my favorite time to read. It's my favorite time to almost do anything. Like, the vibes are so immaculate on a Sunday evening, where it's like, it makes everything better. All my best memories are usually Sunday evenings. And I'll talk about this more. You see me getting excited because we're going to have a specific day talking about vibes of days, because that's a big thing for me. But one of my favorite things to do is to, you know, have my music going, have a candle lit, and either journal about the week or journal about the upcoming week. You know, think about my goals, my plans, my travel plans. You know, I get cozy and I just start letting my words just, my thoughts just explore the page a little bit. And I don't know, any Sunday evening lovers out there? You know, I've developed quite a romantic idea of them. I don't know, it just, and it's like also Sunday evenings, that's when I like love watching romantic movies. I don't know what it is. It's like the hope of the new week, or the culmination of one week. I don't know what, but The Notebook hit different on Sunday evenings. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Maybe it's just, maybe we all have our days that we enjoy. We have our specific moods that we like to create, and that's just mine. So I'd be curious if you have yours. Like, what's your favorite day of the week? What, not even just your favorite day, but what is your favorite time of your favorite day of the week? What's your favorite time of the week? Mine, between 6 and 9 p.m. Sunday evening. That's my favorite window. All-time favorite. And I'm in it right now. It's 6:10. Man. Yeah, see, once I get going, I get going. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Easter. I hope you're having a great Sunday evening. I hope you enjoyed hearing my voice today. I hope, I hope you're looking forward to a great week. I hope this week is amazing for you. New opportunities, new growth, full of comfort, full of coziness. I was talking to my buddy Sam this week, my coworker, and we got into this good topic. My favorite thing about working with somebody as a surveyor is like there are so many opportunities to just like chat and like talk about life. So like he was staking out these points, which pretty much we're using our machines. Anyway, long story short, we're just side by side. I'm hammering nails in for him, and so we just get to talking, and I'm big about like being intentional about things and being intentional about making time for yourself throughout the week to do something you enjoy. Like that's a big thing for me. And like I said, we'll talk about this more because I gotta go eat, but I'm getting hungry. But more of the story is I challenge you this week, do something, like make a plan intentionally in your head to do something that you really would enjoy this week. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can be setting aside an hour after work on whatever day you choose to watch a show that you like, or an episode of a show you like, or something outside of the normal, right? Nothing that you already are gonna do. But like for me, for example, on Wednesday after work, I might order a pizza. I think I'm gonna order pizza and just do nothing. Like maybe I'll stream, but nothing, no workouts, nothing like obligatory. I'm not gonna clean or do dishes. I'm just gonna come home, pick up a pizza, and just watch some TV for that 2-hour time period. And it could be anything. It could be maybe you get home and you want to take a bath. Maybe you get home and you want to plant some stuff in your garden. Maybe you want to cook a meal that you don't normally cook. Like last week, I was so excited. The whole week I planned. I remember Thursday night, I was like, I'm going to make Mongolian beef because it's like my favorite meal like at this Chinese place we had when we were growing up. Favorite meal, favorite flavor. So I want to recreate that. That's my goal for this next few months. But anyway, I planned that Sunday night. I was like, okay, this Thursday, I'm going to make some Mongolian beef from scratch. And I looked forward to it that whole week. And when I did it, it was so much fun. It was so intentional. It was so like rewarding and like enjoyable. It didn't even turn out like how I want. It was still good. It was like 5 out of 10 stars. Ratatouille would not approve, but it was still like decent. I would serve it to friends, but that wasn't the point. The point was to do something intentional that I enjoyed, that was different. So that's what my challenge is to you this week. Pick something, anything, big or small, and do it this week. Plan out, carve out a section of time, maybe a few hours, one of those days, and just do it. And you'll be surprised if you don't do it already. You'll be surprised just how excited you are, how you look forward to these things. And that's a big part of being alive and enjoying life. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow night. This is fun. I'm going to go make some eggs with some goat cheese. I'm still going to get it good at that Mongolian beef. I got to get this recipe. Oh, this is a specific taste that was just, my family would know. We had this specific Chinese place called House of Hunan. It was in Urbandale in Iowa. If anybody ever ate out there and had the Mongolian beef and knows how they made it, please let me know, because that's what I'm working on now. Is I want to perfect that recipe so I can bring it back to my fam and we can have it. because I miss it, and I know they miss it. But yeah, getting the comments, getting the likes, getting the subscribed, all them jazzy things. What I was really gonna say was, chat about topics that you want to hear. Anything that you want to hear on Monday or this week, let me know. We'll get into it. But all right, stay cozy, y'all. Sleep well. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. And